Welcome back to Income Trading 101. Today is, when is today? Tuesday, May the 18th, 2021. It was a long day for me. Had to do a little traveling. But today we're going to take a look at, I believe it's Kusama. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. We're looking at it versus the US dollar on the Bittrex exchange. Let's just take a look. We've got data through would that be August of 2020, and this has had a pullback, but not seemingly not as bad as some of the other cryptocurrencies over the last few days. So let's just take a closer look at this one. We're going to get rid of the volume and go ahead and dive into our usual bit of technical analysis, starting off with moving averages. Just going to go ahead and adjust all of these. You guys know I use the 10, the 20, and the 60. It starts off with daily data, but then we're going to take it deeper with the 1 hour, the 30-minute, and the 15-minute. Just change this over to 60, and there we have it. All right. So this obviously had a nice bull run in 2020. What's interesting here, you look at this where it topped off in late May 28th, pulled back, and actually retested those highs recently, last week. So a number of different tokens, had this sort of a crazy bull run in 2021, topped off, came off, and did not retest the highs. So this is actually very, very positive. Both for this specific token and for Polkadot. This is built on the Polkadot chain. So let's see. So right now we're still looking at, or back to looking bullish with all three moving averages in line. You've got the 10 above the 20, which is above the 60 rather. So that looks positive to me for a little bullish move. Let's take a look at what's going on when we tighten it up to the hourly data. So we obviously had a nice bull run here. A couple of crossovers, but I like the fact that price back here in May, this is last week, touched the 60 period, but did not break it. Did have one 1 hour bar where it broke it. And then once it broke it, it came on through, right? Came on back up. And now we're kind of in no man's land because we've got some convergence going. The 10-day is clearly, or sorry, this is the 10 period at this point, is between the 60. I'll just make this a little better, easier to see. The 10 is between the 60 and the 20. So definitely a period of convergence or consolidation, or however you want to say it with these moving averages. But definitely this is not a clear bullish sign at the 1 hour mark. I imagine the 30-minute is going to be similar. So the 30-minute actually is showing a full-on bearish mark because of the past few hours that we're looking at. So in this scenario, the 60 period is above the 20, which is above the 10. All the moving averages are in line, pointing to a lower drop in price. However, I still like to consider the overall trend in these cryptocurrencies, and certainly at the larger levels, there seems to be strength to the upside. 15-minute as well is showing a bearish sentiment. So clearly price has gone down. This move here that's happened over the last couple hours is obviously coloring this move right now. So this is one of those scenarios where even though in the 15-minute and the 30-minute is showing bearish, I'm more hesitant to exit the position or try to find a way to to benefit on the price going down. I would still lean more towards look at this. This is either slightly higher or a bit of a lateral, a sideways pattern at this point. But before we get into looking for structure and support and resistance and whatnot, let's go ahead and get rid of these moving averages. And we're going to take it down to the MACD just to get a sense of whether or not momentum is telling us anything different than what we already have seen. So No surprise on the daily. You had this crossover on the 1st of April. Actually went negative. Shortly after going negative, though, you had a crossover here, a bullish crossover in negative land, and it went ahead and crossed into positive territory in enough time to possibly have caught a good chunk of that move higher. So that's pretty good. Let's look at the 1 hour. So, oh, there we go. Man, it paused for a second. I was worried. On the 1 hour, you obviously, and the shorter we get, the more oscillation you're going to have. But you have these, periods where it's, crossing and then going into positive territory, crossing again, going negative. It's just a lot of movement here. I like this one here at this crossover into positive territory. Definitely would have been indicative of you would have caught a nice up trend in this market. But all of these oscillations, you just never know. That's why I like to wait until both the MACD, which is in blue, and the signal line in red cross from positive to negative or negative to positive before making any trades on it. Let's take a look at the 30 and the 15 just to get a better sense. So here you're seeing a much more responsive, indicator for short-term trading for sure. But again, that's just a lot of movement. When I look at this down here and see this crossover, that's a bearish crossover in negative territory. So I wouldn't actually take advantage of that. And it's bearish because the signal line, the red line, is above the blue. And it's bullish when the blue, the MACD line, is higher than the signal line. Let's just drop it one more time down to the 15. Yep. Definitely a lot more, many more oscillations. And just as a reminder, I like to enter trades using a shorter time frame and then manage them using longer term or bigger time frames. But if you are like day trading or something like that, these shorter time frames are definitely going to be your friend. So you just have to get used to figuring out your own method for trading using these signal lines. Like, I love when you're looking at technical analysis because you can look here and say, well, of course, at midnight on May the 17th, there was a bullish crossover and it crossed into this line hour and a half later and went positive. And, I would have bought that and caught this huge ride up and then exited here. And no, that's just the fallacy of technical analysis. The truth of it is you have to be able to look at what's going on right now and saying, okay, do I expect price to continue to head lower? You have a scenario with the MACD where the signal line is above the MACD line, red's over blue. That red means that the market, from a momentum standpoint, is pushing lower. So the momentum is to the downside rather than higher. And let's go ahead and just get rid of this. It's not really relevant. Let me take this back to the daily for a minute. It's less relevant to talk about Fibonacci retracement because of the fact that that this last move ended up going 100% of this. So the pullback came down. We can look at that, just get a better sense of how far of a pullback we had. Let's just go from here. So judging that, so we went lower than 61.8. This one candlestick almost touched the 78.6% range. But the kicker is that it went ahead and rebounded to make new highs. So it makes it a little harder to focus on something like Fibonacci analysis. I am going to take this to a lower time frame just so that we have more price data in view so that we can analyze it and see. Like, I'm very curious if this current level represents support for this market or resistance. And honestly, it's been a mixed bag. I mean, we pushed higher back a few days ago, pushed lower a few days ago. obviously went lower, but this high never stopped at a particular point, which would have marked some structure or support and resistance levels. So right now, this is just kind of trading. It's not a whole lot going on as far as the analysis of the various support, resistance, and other structure in this market. But I do think, for me personally, I think I've pointed out the fact that I'm not big on what do you call it, sideways channels. They get me into trouble because I'm constantly looking for an exit. Like, oh, definitely that's a breakout coming to the upside or downside, and the only thing that ends up down ends up being my personal account. So and this this is a $50 wide, $55 wide channel. That's 10% of the stock. It's far too much, and we have far too much data outside of the channel. But by and large, I do think there's some something to be said for this. So here is kind of a low that captures this, these 2 points. Be very interesting to see if this stock does, if this coin decides to, or token, decides to go ahead and fall to the bottom of this area, which would be, like 538. So about $10 less than it is right now, which, in the grand scheme of things isn't that much, since this is a $500, more than $500 asset. So in general, this is one of those that I would definitely wait on if you're looking to buy it. There's a lot to be said for buying the dips these days, but I also don't want to catch a falling knife. And so without seeing a clear support level, or a little bit of a better sense of where resistance or all of that might be, I'm much more hesitant to put a trade on. Yeah, just more hesitant. I mean, even back here, you would have had a nice little channel to try and create that captures the majority of the data. So you had another one here, another up one, a down one here. In fact, if we can just go ahead and mark all of this up, just so you get a sense of how this has played out. So definitely in this current period, I would argue that you need to be beware, and just wait for more data. I might end up taking a look at buying this in a few days, but right now doesn't seem to be it, because it's kind of going sideways or maybe lower. So but again, I love the fact that this thing fully retested its previous high. That is so significant. I can't point out how significant it is. Yeah. So once again, I always ask the question, and I mean it. I'd love to know if you guys trade this token or not, and if so, what are your thoughts? Any tips on making money here? Is this definitely, should we pause like I mentioned, or is this a buy the pullback because this thing's going to go to the moon once more? So good questions. Thanks for watching this video. Definitely go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you have not already subscribed to the channel. Thanks once again, and have a great week. Happy trading.